Welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. I'm your host, Luca Wilson. I know it's been a little bit since the last podcast, just trying to rebrand and make this thing better for you guys. So I'm no longer just a football podcast. I realize I have more passion than just football in the sports world. So we'll be casting a wide net in the sports that we'll be talking about, ranging from football, basketball, to Formula One, and even some UFC. So stay tuned for that content. Today is more of a rant than a podcast, kind of just talking about what I want to see for my New York Knicks going into the offseason, and just giving a breakdown on life as a Knicks fan moving forward. So I would say this to start off: next year is the year. If we want to make the finals, next year is the year. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Dame, Tatum, and Halliburton all most likely being out for next season, or at least a majority of next season. We have to make the push now. We can't be scared. We have to make the moves to be a championship winner. So I don't think there's any excuses anymore. If we don't get it done this year, it's time to really look at more of a management perspective you already fired Tibbs, so if you can't make it past the Eastern Conference Finals, then it obviously wasn't Tibbs' fault, and that's something that we'll kind of dive into a little bit. But yeah, the East is wide open. Cavs, Sixers, Magic, Knicks, Pistons. The Celtics are still solid, and the Pacers are still solid, so you can't underestimate anybody in the East, but this is the most wide open that it's been for a while, and there's no excuses. It's time to really just buy in and make a push for the finals. So we'll get into the front office decisions and more of the management side first. So with Tom Thibodeau being fired and just giving a couple of weeks to really digest and form an opinion about what I think without being a biased fan, I think that we kind of rushed into this decision without a real clear path on what we were going to do, like, moving forward. Obviously, the memes have come out about us trying to get everybody for an interview, but I think that's what you do when you're trying to find a coach. Like, why not cast a wide net? Why not try to interview other teams' coaches just to see what their philosophy is moving forward? I don't think that's a dumb decision at all. I think people are taking that way out of context, like us interviewing John Calipari. Maybe we're just asking questions on, like, what do you think it would take to be a good head coach for us? I don't even know if it's really we have interest in Calipari. That's just something to think about from a real life perspective, and stop being naive to the fact that we're obviously not going to hire John Calipari. But yeah, and I also think James Dolan is trying to get his fingerprints back on the Knicks because people are giving Leon Rose so much more praise, and I really think that's why we got Tom Thibodeau out of there. So I think we need to let Leon Rose cook. He got us this far, so James Dolan can be more of an owner and stop trying to be so hands-on, kind of like a Jerry Jones. Kind of just sit back and just be there and just be the money source instead of really trying to have your hands all over this organization, because if you win a ring, then we all win a ring. So yeah, I would love to see us hire Johnny Bryant, speaking of the head coaching carousel, because he's young. Hasn't gotten a shot to be a head coach yet, obviously, because he's pretty young. And he coached with us before, so he knows kind of how the New York Knicks run. But we haven't even interviewed him yet, haven't even gave him the chance. So obviously I don't think that's going to happen. The three big names that have been running around so far are Mike Brown, Taylor Jenkins, and James Borrego. I don't want to see Mike Brown. I feel like that's a stagnant move. I don't even think that he's better than Tom Thibodeau as a coach. So that's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. Just kind of clear to Knicks fans that you really didn't have a identity in this carousel. Taylor Jenkins, I'd be all right with Taylor Jenkins. He's definitely my second option, though. I think that there's a reason why he got fired from Memphis. Some people say it's because of Ja. But we have some personalities on our team, too, that don't mesh well with some coaches. So I'd like to see us go out and get James Borrego. If you look at his year-by-year progression with the Hornets, he made a step up every year, and they fired him after a winning season. So, I think that he's a young coach, but I think he's also been around the block, and he knows how to coach guards. So I think James Borrego is the right decision here in New York to be the next head coach of the Knicks. Get into like kind of the roster evaluation, just what I think about each player moving forward into the offseason. If I see some as a trade piece, or just my honest opinions about the first 7 people on our roster, and then kind of the bench as a whole after that. So Jalen Brunson, obviously, that's our captain, is not the reason why we didn't get over the hump. I think he's doesn't trust the players on the team sometimes, which can definitely be his downfall to it. But it's also why he's good too, I think, because he likes to take games over. He likes to score, but sometimes I feel like he thinks he has to do too much. Like he's on the Knicks team last year, I feel like he had to do a little too much, and I feel like now that he has Cat, he can rely on someone else. I think Jalen Brunson, he's fine. He won't get traded, and if he does, we'll burn New York down. So I don't think that'll ever happen. He'll be a Knick for the rest of his life. And then Cat. I've seen so many mock trades that have Cat getting traded to Sacramento, Atlanta, just dumb trades, and I think ignorant too. Tibbs' offense didn't utilize Cat to his full tools, and he is still easily the most dominant player in most of the series. A matchup nightmare for some centers. The slow-footed centers, he'll shoot over them, and the weak centers, I think he'll just bump them in the post. So I think that's definitely a plus for Cat. He's a top 3 center in the league, other than Embiid and Jokic. I think that he is number 3. The defensive effort could be better, but that's why you have Mikal, OG, and people like that to pick his defense up, because he is such a weak link on defense at times. And then Mikal Bridges, so underwhelming on offense throughout the playoffs. 33% from the three-point line is not going to cut it from your so-called third option. I wish OG was the third option, but I just think the way that plays were called makes him the third option. And his defensive effort makes up a little bit for his offense, but the shot selection was definitely frustrating at times, but not a trade piece unless we get Giannis, because we gave so much up for him that there's really no way that we can trade him, and it makes sense. Next is OG. That's our rock for the playoffs. He was aggressive on defense, and even attacking the basket. Was a steady hand when others would be inconsistent, but I also think at times he was a little inconsistent, kind of going back on my word a little bit. Shot 34% from 3 as well. Would help if he was a little closer to 36, 37%. But also his defense really did help him not feel so awful from 3, but he's definitely not a trade piece. That's definitely our third untouchable. If we had to pick between him and Mikal, I would definitely say OG. We're also giving him so much money, which also is a thing to look at. And then Josh Hart. I'm very wishy-washy with him day to day. Some days I'll wake up be like, he's a really crucial part of our championship run, but then there's also days where I'm like, we could get such a better power forward, and then also just money ball it a little, get a playmaking ability of like Lonzo, and shooting with like Keegan Murray. But that's also, other pieces have to get traded for that to happen. But I love his playmaking ability, but his three-point shot is very, very questionable, and he has defensive lapses that are very disheartening at times. I just wish he had confidence in his shot, because even if he misses it, at least defenses have to guard him, but he pump fakes a lot, where that he can't even get guarded. People just Ben Simmons him, and it takes away from the ability of other people. But I love his team first mentality. He has a championship mentality, I think, and he would be a big piece going forward for a championship team. But I could also see him getting traded for a better power forward. I mean, that's all it really is at the end of the day, or just a better piece. Mr. Robinson, A+ effort. Would love for him to stay because of the bench effort. He also contrasts Cat perfectly. I would love, kind of like the Thunder with Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. I think Mitchell and Cat could be pretty much the same thing. But if he was in the trade for someone I'll talk about a little later, then I wouldn't be mad either. And then Deuce McBride kind of got washed out of crunch time in the Pacers series because of performance. started to get a little scared to shoot. When he loves to do the tween step back three and Madison Square Garden starts yelling deuce when he hits it, he's a crucial part of our team. But I could also see him being a trade piece for a better bench player, and I wouldn't be mad at that either, although I do love Deuce McBride. But you got to put your feelings aside, and you got to want to win a championship. So that's why I think I wouldn't be too mad if he got traded. And then for the rest of the bench, very expendable. Would love to see we kept Shamet. I mean, you can't have a stacked bench 6 through 12. You need some pieces that are like just kind of mid. But he played big minutes for us in the playoffs. And also keep Cam Payne, a good locker room guy. And if we can't get a better bench point guard, I'd also like to see us keep DeLon Wright. Just I think you're not going to find a lot of like great bench point guards. Like if we got Lonzo, then I wouldn't be mad at us saying bye to DeLon Wright. But I think he's on the same level as a lot of backup point guards in the league. Just hasn't really gotten the time to really show it. I don't think he's kind of like, I think he might be 29, 30. So, I mean, he's old. He's been in the league long enough to know what it takes. He hasn't been on a lot of winning teams, but I still do really like DeLon. What I want to see from the offseason moves, far-fetched trades, Kobe White or Jaren Jackson. I think either of these in a trade, that would be awesome. Trade Deuce, trade Mitchell Robinson, and then might have to throw in Josh Hart for like the Jaren Jackson trade. I think he's a little more valuable than Kobe White. But I think this would be the push that we would need to make that championship run. But if they like the starting five and want more bench pieces, this is what I would like to see happen from a free agency standpoint. Gary Trent Jr., 3 years, $30 million, a good scoring threat off the bench. You saw that one electric game that he had in the playoffs for the Bucks against the Pacers. That would help us a lot. And then Shamet, 2 years minimum. Don't want to give this guy $8 to $10 million a year, but I still do think he is a pretty good piece. And then if we trade Mitchell Robinson, I would love to see us get Luke Cornett. I think that would be an amazing piece off the bench. And then Yabusele, I would love to see him get the minimum. A nice little stretch forward, play maybe 10 to 12 minutes a game. That would be amazing. And then between DeLon Wright and Tyus Jones, whoever is willing to take the minimum to be here, I think would be a great piece because obviously that's an unselfish, pretty decent point guard piece. And then just final lineup say Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, and Mitchell Robinson, and then Josh Hart, Gary Trent, Deuce, Shamet, Wright or Jones, and then Yabusele. I would also love to see us get maybe Alonzo Ball off the bench if we can't get a DeLon Wright. But dream offseason lineup for me would be Brunson, Bridges, OG, Jaren Jackson, Towns, Gary Trent, Cornett, Shamet, and then Wright or Jones. I think that would make us a 55-win team. Obviously, going back into like putting a lot of eggs into the starters, but I still don't think that bench is some slouch bottom five bench either. I think it still could get us a lot of good minutes and be the reason we win 55, 60 games. But yeah, guys, thank you for listening to this episode. More of a rant, like I said. I feel like I kind of like this style a little more. But yeah, like I said, rebranding Final Whistle a little bit. The next episode will actually be talking about Formula One Austrian Grand Prix this Sunday. I'll probably have that video out to you guys by Monday or Tuesday. But look for more of less podcast-looking episodes and more just rant talking to you guys with a little more editing. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this style of podcast and what you want to see from me going forward. I'm always up for ideas. And yeah, peace out, guys.